Rewired. This is me, my life rewired.
Hi, and welcome to Life Rewired. Today we have a very special program for you. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. We have an author who is a four-time author, or about to be a four-time author. And also, she is pretty special because I met her through my publisher, Heather Felty, and she is just an amazing person. You're not going to want to miss this story. Before we jump in, I want to remind you guys that if you want resources for brain injuries, go to my website, myliferewired.com, click on the resource tab, and everything that I find that is useful for me, other survivors, I put on there so we don't have to keep recreating the wheel. Also, if you want to be a guest on the program, there's a contact me button. Just click on that. It will send me a direct email and you can be scheduled to be on the program. Without further ado, let's welcome today's guest, Danielle Ehlert. Er, help me with this. Help me with that.
It's Ehlert. Thanks.
Ehlert. Did I get close?
You did. You did very good. I've heard it all different ways.
Oh, it's like my last name. We've heard everything, and some things not even close to. So it's all good. So, do you go by Danny?
You can call me Danny. All my friends do.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be your friend today. How about that?
Great.
Danny, she just published a book called Dance of the Dragonfly. Getting sober brought me purpose and allowed me to become my own best friend. Danny also suffered a brain injury, and I would like to let you tell us all about that, Danny.
Well, thank you, Rob. 21 years ago, back in February of 2004, I had a cardiac arrest, and thankfully, my husband found me. He found me blue-lipped and lifeless on the bathroom floor. Luckily, the fire chief had a defibrillator and only lived a few miles from us. He arrived with the defibrillator, shocked me, and while it was recharging to deliver another shock, it detected a pulse. And once that happened, I was quickly loaded into the ambulance, taken to a local hospital, and there they read the defib tape that came out of the machine. Once they realized that I did indeed have a full arrest and I was exhibiting some brain trauma by repeating questions over and over and just not registering the
Mm-hmm.
answer, they transferred me to a hospital in Madison, Wisconsin, and there they implanted a cardio defibrillator in my chest because they did not know what had caused the cardiac arrest. For 2 years prior to this event, I had complained of chest pain. It would occur in my sternum and then radiate down my left arm. And for 2 years, I was rushed into the hospital either by ambulance or my husband, and they stated that I was having panic attacks.
Mm.
So I was put on a whole bunch of medications from antidepressants to antipsychotics to benzodiazepine for anxiety as a result of this chest pain that they were telling me wasn't really happening. So
Wow.
when I had my arrest 2 years later, my doctor came in the room, and at that time, everything still wasn't on computers yet. And he's opening the file, and he walked in, and I watched the color go out of this man when he said, "Am I reading this correctly? You had a cardiac arrest?" And I said, "Yes, I did. Sorry about your panic attack theory, because I do have a heart issue." So they had
Wow.
thought I had what was known as Prinzmetal metal angina, and we just kind of went with that diagnosis, although there was nothing, definitive. They did not know specifically why I arrested. And then after years later, and several diagnostic tests, it's believed that I have what's known as long QT syndrome. And that is basically an electrical malfunction of your heart. It
Mm-hmm.
interrupts the flow and the beating and causes arrest in people. So the course of action generally is almost always to put in a defibrillator. So 21 years later, I've had 3 defibrillators. I've had the original leads into my heart. Um, but they broke recently. And after having 3 surgeries to replace the devices, no one really wanted to deal with the broken leads as they're embedded into the heart wall.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they wanted to leave those in, put a couple more in, and put in another defibrillator, making it number 4. And um, was I had grown weary after 21 years of
Yeah.
having to maintain the device, have periodic checks. It just was a burden, and I had never needed it. And so that was one thing of the medical issues that I sustained in the course of 21 years. I dealt with
Yeah.
numerous, and then I did develop panic attacks, waiting for the
Hmm.
device to fire. Um, just constantly aware of that I was a heart patient. And I
Yeah.
actually became in my mind and embraced a lifestyle of a heart patient. I
Hmm.
became my disease. And so I had to make some changes, take back control of my health and my responsibility in my health. And I started to slowly get off the medications through diet and exercise. I changed my life, lost 80 pounds. I quit drinking and smoking. Yay. So that's what Dance of the Dragonfly has been for me. It's been telling the journey of dealing with difficult situations in my life stemming from health issues, mental health, and addiction. And so it's been a journey of learning to love myself through it all.
Mm.
So that's what
I'm
that
glad you
story.
said that. I'm glad you acknowledged that you did not become your disease or your illness, I should say. And that's a trap that I think many of us get involved in, is that we become what everyone tells us we are. And you have to first break that stigma and say, no, I'm not going to be that person.
Right. Well, fear plays into it.
Hmm.
When you're asking, well, what happens and will this happen again? And they have no definitive answers. They didn't know what caused the first one. We must be mindful that our doctors, while good intention, they still are practicing medicine.
Right.
Okay. They
Right.
don't know. Only God our Father knows the real
Hmm.
what's possible for us. And so in this journey too, I had to surrender my strong-willed ways to God to help me figure out life and what was going to work best for me. And so
Right.
that's been the journey of discovery of my beliefs in myself and my higher power,
Hmm.
and finding a better way than the life I was, because I had had everything I'd ever wanted in life. I have a beautiful family. I've been married with my husband now over 32 years, and I have really everything I'd ever wanted, but there was something always missing.
Mm.
And that something was myself loving me. I
Yeah.
struggled to myself, and I kept, with the brain injury, it was hard to stay focused. It was hard
Hmm.
to remember things. I felt very insecure about what was my next step. And as I got sober in the journey, those layers started falling off, and I started stepping into the things that feared me, that caused me fear, I should say, and facing them one by one with baby steps, and journaling through it. That was writing was very therapeutic for me, and
Yep.
then helping others kept me out of my head and kept me moving forward. And so that was what was helpful for me. And I had to adjust. I have to note and write notes for everything. I have to put everything in my calendar because my memory is not coming back, and it
Right.
probably never will. They were very sure that I was lucky to be here today.
Oh,
The
yeah.
town that I live in is a town of around less than 1,000 people. And so our firefighters and EMTs are all volunteer. And just as luck would have it, that the fire chief had the defibrillator and was, miles from my home, uh, was, just divine intervention that I was still
Hmm.
here and able to tell my story. So grateful for
Oh, yeah.
that.
Those seconds saved your lives.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
So much, instead of dwelling on the negatives in my life, I had to change my mindset and focus on the positive. And practice gratitude was instrumental in helping me do that, because I did realize that I had everything that I really thought I needed and wanted in life, but I didn't appreciate it. You know, it was like
Hmm.
it's just there, it just is, and then we go about our life. And once I started to appreciate it and say, God, thank you. You gifted me with such a lovely life, a second chance. And
Hmm.
now you've restored my health. And it just seems the more I appreciate, the more he was gifting me with. And so through this surrender, through this journey, I have discovered my love of helping others. And
That's
so
awesome.
I think the book is also my way of opening the dialogue with people about the hard things that we can endure in our life, and
Yeah.
being mindful not to become a victim of those things, you
Hmm.
know, because we get stuck. And I was one. I stayed in bed at my own hands basic for 2 years. I did, after the loss of my sister to alcohol. I had to remove her from life support. I shut down and I did not want to continue. And that's when the surrender actually happened. And it was like, well, there's no time like the present. I knew things weren't going the way they should be in my life. I had enough sadness. I had lost all my family. And, well, my like original family, not my family now
Yeah.
with my children, but so they were all gone, and I was struggling with, I don't want this. I don't want to leave my children with this mess, you know.
Right.
And um, so God gifted me in my surrender. I got the strength to do the things I had to take back
Hmm.
control of my life, to get off the alcohol, to quit the cigarettes, and to take the steps to heal in all areas of my life. So
Right.
that was it for me.
See, I love that about your book. It's not just I had a brain injury. Well, it was me. Your book is more about this is what happened, this is how I healed through it, and this is how you can overcome.
Right.
It's not just about the brain injury. It's about the different things that you can overcome that is relatable to pretty much anyone in this world.
Correct. Yeah, we're a lot stronger than we think we are. And I've
Hmm.
learned that through the adversity and through the pain in life that we actually grow. And so
Yes.
instead of shutting down like I had in the past, I looked for the lesson when the difficulties arose. And then in the good times, I practice gratitude. So between the two, it keeps me on course, moving forward, um, and living a life of purpose instead of
Mhm.
injury and despair. you know,
Right.
so
You said something else earlier in your conversation that really struck a chord with me. I just spoke with I forget what he was, but I'm not, my apologies. But he was a counselor and very intelligent man. But he was talking about journaling, and this was kind of based on like dating advice and relationship advice, but still it applies to everything because he said you should be journaling so you can go back and look and see how you're progressing. He was journaling himself, and he's like, when I went back and started seeing my ups and downs, I was like, wow, I'm constantly doing this, and this is hindering my growth as a person. And that helped him to see where he needed to make changes in his own life.
oh, absolutely. I can tell you a story. My I struggle with body dysmorphia. It's a condition where you absolutely hate yourself. Certain things about you. I attribute it to childhood modeling and emphasis put on body. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I have like been struggling through body image for years, and my therapist recommended journaling. She told me to name 3 things I did like about myself every day. They could have been the same thing every day, or eventually you start looking for new things, and your vision expands a little further. And it was amazing to me how it helped me to accept myself through the writing three things. I mean, it was superficial at first. Oh, I had a good hair day. People always comment about my eyes. And at one time I had nails, and so it was like all superficial stuff. And then later it was like, months go by, and I was really struggling to find things, and then one day it said, yeah, hair, got it. Nails, yeah. You're kind. Where did that come from? I was like, yeah, okay, I am. So I really got into journaling. One day I was cleaning my house. Well, the journaling then did help me to understand the things I was dealing with daily. And one
Yeah.
day while cleaning the house, I found a journal that I had started 20 years earlier. Okay, this is very scary, but this will make it, understand. I picked up the journal. This was after I had gotten out of a rehab facility at the advice of a therapist in there. I've struggled with alcoholism for many years, too many, but 6 years sober. So we'll focus on that. But anyway, in the journal that I found, here it was a letter I wrote to my mother 20 years earlier. And here I compared it to the journal I was writing that year, and it was exactly the same. I had been stuck for 20 years, angry at my mother,
Mhm.
angry about situations that had torn us apart, angry at things she had done. It was stuck, 20-year time capsule in that journal of things that I never got closure on. And I thought, wow, now my folks are gone, okay? But I was still struggling with that. And through journaling, it was the only way that I could let that go. I then started working on those things from the 20-year-old, journal, and realized that I had been working on them, and I was getting through it. But that's how long a person can stay stuck, playing the same loop,
Mhm.
repetitive. And with a brain injury, here's the deal. All I could remember were those things from years and years ago, because
Yes.
I have no short-term memory as a result of my brain
Guilty.
injury. Right.
Mhm.
So it's like, how can I stay in this pain of 20 years?
Mhm.
I did not want that in another 20. So
Right.
it was time to get serious, time to knuckle down, and time to
Mhm.
make the changes that I know I need to make. And so journaling is that reminder to us. Maybe not at the time we're doing it, but years later to be able to look back, and it's also a great way for people with no memory to remember things.
Right.
Oh yeah, I remember that. So yeah, that was it was very eye-opening for me to go, wow, 20 years, what a waste. But it really wasn't. I just, in 20 years, finally got the tools to fix things the way they needed to be fixed for me. So,
Right.
in this journey, you learn to give yourself grace, right? We give
Mhm.
ourselves grace, but we have to have grit too to continue and to keep
We
pushing
do.
forward. And so
Yes.
that's what it is. We can't be our injuries. We can't be our illness. We
Mhm.
have to be the people that made us to be. And I believe that's part of a community that helps others. And that
Yeah.
seems to work best for me these days. So yeah, life is good. You can't ever give up. You just find new ways to do things. Even the
Right.
old things. You find new ways to
Mhm.
make them interesting again. So
I have found that, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well, that I don't give myself the same grace that I give others.
oh yeah.
I'll go out of my way to make everyone else feel special, feel great, feel lifted up, and then I'm constantly tearing myself down. So I'm a work in progress too. We all
Oh
are.
yeah. It's been a lifetime challenge for me to love myself. I
Hmm.
was always I grew up with some childhood trauma, and things were done to me that as a child we don't understand. We don't know how to deal with it. And
Right.
unfortunately, I had a family that was very dysfunctional. And so it was just trying to figure out how to move forward and not having someone to lead me like I
Hmm.
needed. So it was left to my own devices for far too long. But through God's grace, I had like a come to Jesus moment and get right, lady. You've got
Yeah.
things to do, and you've wasted enough time, you know, with your foolishness. That was it.
Hmm.
I stayed angry at those that had wronged me and wanted vengeance for far too long, and I had to let go of that. I tried but those were the memories that I was stuck with. So
Right.
I wasn't growing like most people. It
You were
was,
spinning the
I
wheels.
yes, that was all I could remember was those things that people had
Hmm.
done to me. And it was just playing that loop over and finally finding a way to break that cycle because
Yeah.
all I was really doing, it was a form of trauma flooding,
Hmm.
playing those loops. And that is what really kept me stuck. And my coping mechanism for dealing with that was alcohol, which also kept me stuck. So I lived in limbo for far too long before
Yeah.
just knuckling down and doing what I had to do to make the changes. Because no, I
Hmm.
realized no one was coming to save me. There was no one else. You know,
Right.
there just wasn't. My husband did everything he could to try to help me, but not being trained in mental health, or addiction is challenging for those, and there was no doubt that he loved me, but he didn't know what to do. And so
Right.
now I know that desperation and trying to save my sister and trying to help my family over the years. I could do it for them, but not for myself.
Right.
And it's ingrained in us, the unworthiness.
It
When things
is.
like that happen to us through our lifetime, it
Right.
becomes part of who we are. And I now understand that um, childhood trauma and trauma issues often show up later in life as physical illness. So I believe that the whole of my life that I have been through is indeed what triggered my cardiac arrest. It was living in hypervigilance in a flight
Hmm.
state at all times because of trauma, and my heart was tired, you know. And
Yeah.
now that I'm healthy again and my heart is functioning like an athlete, crazy, but um, it's just to say that nobody really knows. And if you set your mind to it, you can really achieve anything. And
Yeah.
just got to keep
Absolutely.
trying. So, yeah,
Yes. Childhood
there's no reason
trauma.
to give up. You just got to try harder, I guess, until you find your way.
Hmm. That childhood trauma, it is like a snowball effect. It leaves you bitter. It leaves you with trust issues, big time trust issues.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you what, I can throw up a wall faster than anybody else.
hmm Yeah, there's no joke to that.
Hmm.
It's unfortunately there's so many people. I work as a caregiver by profession, and so I deal with seniors and people with disabilities to live independently in their homes. I love what I do, but I see so much struggle and pain and loneliness and family division. And it breaks my heart, because
Hmm.
during my time, after my cardiac arrest, my friends kind of dispensed. I think I
Yes.
was a reminder to them of their own mortality, as they're
Hmm.
generally older than me, as my husband is, and his friends. And so they kind of disappeared when I needed someone the most. And
Yeah.
that will bring you to Jesus. When you just, after a cardiac event, it's very common that people struggle with depression. They
Yeah.
don't talk about it. They don't tell you. The doctors don't say,
Hmm.
by the way, if you happen to be a little down, this will
That's
pass.
normal.
But
Yeah.
yeah, nobody told me about it. And I had struggled with depression for the majority of my life. But then it was impounded and complicated by something I had no memory of.
Yeah. Isn't that
So, is
amazing how that
that
works?
crazy? Yeah.
There's a really
It
good
was
book. I don't know if you've ever read it before or not. It's called The Body Keeps the, or is it The Body Keeps the Score?
mhm.
Have you read that?
I've not read it, but I have heard of it.
Yeah, it's a really good read. I highly recommend it. But yeah, we may not remember traumas and things that's happened to us, but boy, our body does not forget.
Absolutely. And that is the truth. It's crazy
Yeah,
how that works.
I mean, you're
But
living
it's
proof that
also
your body
very
keeps the score.
resilient. Our
Yeah.
body is so resilient. God made it so we balance our gut, things just kind of flow the way they should. But we have to take
Hmm.
care of ourselves. We can't just
Right.
keep expecting the doctors and all the meds to do the job because they don't always do what they're supposed to. And on top of it, they come with a whole host of side effects. So the medication roller coaster, I just kept the next doctor will fix me, the next doctor. And next thing I knew, I had 30 medications for every day.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
then I started getting side effects from them not playing well. And then
Hmm.
it was just a nightmare situation and exhausting. And so I don't ever want to go back there. Knowing that I've learned the lessons that I need to take good care of myself, that I need to treat my body as a temple. And when I take care of it, it will take care of me. And then
Right.
I will be able to live the life I want. So that's the lesson I've learned on my journey is we've got to love ourselves first and foremost. We have to accept the things that we've been through because that's how we learn and grow. And
Hmm.
then the best advice I could ever give anyone is be part of your community. Look after those that you love and care about because
Right.
that's what life is all about anyway. It
Hmm.
is, we're all of one energy, vibrations, whatever you want to call it. But having that community keeps us from sliding back into our old ways, you know?
It does. It really
And
does.
we need to make it more, eliminate the stigma of having a bad day. When
Hmm.
someone's struggling, we need to help them if we can,
Right.
you know? Too many people just walk around in blinders, not my problem, and they just plug through life. Well,
Right.
I encourage each person these days to notice their surroundings, to take note of their neighbors, people they work with. And if they notice they're having a hard time, take the initiative to friend them, and
Yeah.
to try to help them through the difficulty because enough people are struggling and we need to unite.
That's so true. We have really, as a human race, have lost the community. I mean,
Yes.
when I was growing up, we knew our neighbors and, oh, Bob's not home yet. I hope he's okay. And you go check on them and take them a meal if they're not feeling well. How many people nowadays don't even know who their next door neighbor is?
Right, right.
It's
And
sad.
in the job I see working with these, there's so much loneliness.
Hmm.
In the days where everyone has a cell phone, that shouldn't be a problem, you know.
Yeah.
But I see it every day in my job, and at least it comforts me in some way to know that my brief interaction with these people, just checking in on them, just calling them once in a while, um, really makes their life a little better with every interaction. It gives them something to look forward to, visit, somebody to come hear whether it's tales of woe or share their joy from the week. They just look for somebody to care.
Yeah.
And families, unfortunately, have been scattered across the United States, and the folks are home in Wisconsin. They don't get to see their children as often, but they live for those phone calls. And we all know everyone's got the cell phones, just they're not using them as they should. You know,
Right. They're not
check on
using their
mom and dad,
phones.
check on your uncles and aunts, and because it's going to fill your life and it's going to help someone else. It's just such a simple thing.
Yeah.
And Even with a brain injury, we can do that, right? There's
Right.
no excuses for not helping one another.
A few kind words goes a long way.
Absolutely. Just a smile at someone, passing them on the street helps
Hmm.
someone. It's just so simple. And yet we have to put signs in our yards to be kind anymore. And it seems
Right.
ridiculous. Let's just put it in action. We don't need a sign. Let's just do it.
Hmm.
So let's be the
Exactly.
best that we can be and live our best life, whatever our struggles. But I really
Right.
think being part of a community is the answer for that.
Hmm.
Just having a friend.
Volunteer. Go help people.
That's
You know,
it. Get
we used to
involved.
go volunteer at Thanksgiving time to go help dish out meals at the local community shelter.
Right.
You
Oh,
know,
I love that. I
that
invite
won't
friends
sober you
that don't
really
have
fast up and
family.
well.
Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't take much. It's so simple, but yet it's kind of disappeared in our culture anymore. And so
Mhm.
it's unfortunate, but we'll remind them, right? I mean, we bring
Yeah.
awareness to all kinds of things and bring awareness to being a better person in making our communities better and safer
Yeah.
places. That's what I'm all about these days.
Yeah.
Because the same people that I'm talking about in my little community here, these are the EMTs and the firefighters that so they give their time to everybody else, you know, and it's just nice to give back. When
It
I had
is
my
very.
cardiac arrest, neighbors I had not even met brought casseroles, offered to babysit my children while I recovered, offered to take me to doctor's appointments. That's the communities I want to live in.
Yeah.
That's my town, my small town, and that's what I want for everyone. I mean, if a
Yeah.
town of 1,000 people can take time to feed my family for weeks
Hmm.
that they didn't even know me, I mean, that's just a beautiful place to live, and we need more of that. Not for me,
Absolutely.
but for everybody, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone should have that kind of kindness given to
Right,
them and also should be given back.
right. I think that's what we should be part of, focused on this world is making it a better place for everybody. We all too often see the divide and the labels and the things that differentiate us from others. But we don't talk enough about uniting in friendship and love for one another, and that's kind of what I'm
Hmm.
interested in. I don't know. Maybe it's because I see it every day in my job and it's become
Yeah.
important and forefront. But I just know that I know how much it meant to me when people came to my aid, and I see how much it means in helping others. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, spread the awareness.
I think we are too focused on this person's different because they do this or that or whatever. We are missing the bigger picture. We're all
Yeah,
human. We
yeah,
all don't think the same way. We all don't like the same taste or
right.
don't like the same thing to drink. We're human. And we should be extending the same grace to everybody else that we expect to be extended back to ourselves.
That's
And
just it.
we're failing miserably. And I pray that we could do better.
Me too. I'm in
Yeah.
it, and I love being part of a community that cares. Inner Peace Press is representative of that and like minded people wanting to make a
Mhm.
difference. And that's why I was so grateful to become part of this with Inner Peace Press and meeting the other authors. I think every one of them has remarkable stories. I
Yeah.
think this is amazing that Heather was able to create a publishing company that brings awareness to all these kind of different topics
Yeah.
with compassion and kindness. So,
That's what I
bravo.
love so much about the books that she's putting out is they aren't they're niche specific, but they are also surrounded by some everybody can take away something from the book. It doesn't have to be, well, I'm not going to get that book because I'm not this, or I'm not going to get that book because I'm not
Right.
that. We all can relate to these stories. They are stories of purpose and hope. And I just
Yes.
love it. I'm so
Yep.
proud to be part of that too.
Me too.
And as well as your book through Heather, you've got two books of poems the Step into the Arena series, and you can get those through your website
Yes, through the
or
website.
mhm. And then you've also created a Facebook group called Empathy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Empathy is a community for people of to make friends. It's to help each other through times of struggle, whatever it is, whether it's addiction, dealing with aging parents, um, problems with children, children moving out, empty nest, all the things that we go through that maybe we're not so prepared for. But yet, this is a community where we could talk about anything without shame or guilt or judgment. There, there's no judgment in empathy community. It is just a place of friendship and love.
I love
And
that.
I if somebody has something they're dealing with, go to empathy community, put it out there, and my friends, and other community members are all looking to help someone. You know, at least to be an ear for them or someone to bounce ideas off, whatever it is. And, hopefully we'll resolve some of these struggles and people can live in joy again instead of struggling just daily to get through the day. So, empathy is a place to unload, unwind, and make friends. So, I hope that you'll join because I'm really getting my toes into it and spreading awareness of friendship is great. Friends are awesome. We all need friends, but friendships also take work. It's You have to check on your friends. You have to be
Mhm.
there in times of struggle. It,
Mhm.
it's it, we need to work on our friendships. We can't have these one-way friendships that you be there when I need you, but
Mhm.
when I'm in need or whatever, no, there was no one. That was a reality call check for me when I was sick, depressed. The phone wasn't ringing. Nobody's dropping by. Um, in fact, my brother-in-law even said to me after my father-in-law passed that they thought I was next. They were ready to put me in a grave. And the funny part was, I don't remember him picking up the phone to check on me, sending me a
Mhm.
card, knowing I was near death.
Yeah.
Um, and that was the wake up call. That can't be. My friends, I was always the first one to check on them if they were struggling because I value my friendships. I didn't have the type of family that I could turn to when I needed help. So my
Right.
friends became family to me, and they're very important to me. But I do realize that over the years, not everybody continues on our journey with us, but I
Right.
sure would do everything I can to keep my friendships intact
Mhm.
and relevant, you know? So I work on it and I encourage others through empathy to work on their friendships, to nurture them because I get it. We're all busy with kids and jobs and everything.
Right.
But eventually, the job's going to be gone, your kids are going to be out, and you're going to be sitting at home alone, bitter and angry at the way your life turned out. And I see it every day in my dealing with my seniors. And
Mhm.
I understand, as we get older, we lose our friends through whatever. But I want to make people mindful of maintaining those friendships as long as they can.
Right.
And
I
that's where empathy comes in.
love it. I love it. And I
Oh,
hope you
thank you.
guys watching will go join the Empathy Facebook group. Don't worry, everything that we've talked about will be in the description below. Easy to find. Just click on the links, it'll go right to her website. If you don't want to look at the links, her website is Danielle Ehlert, and I'm gonna keep messing that last name up, and I'm trying really hard. .com and see if I got this right. DanielleEhlert.com.
EHLERT.com.
EHLERT.com.
Sorry, someone's. Yeah, when I first got the website, I was dropping there was too many E's. I was like E overload. So it was Danielle and then another E for the Ehlert. But yeah, you got to have the two E's together or it doesn't work.
Okay.
So
Oh, and I
I
do have
thank
a
you.
screen. I just don't think my brain would let me say it.
When
So
you
maybe
type it,
those watching this program, click the link below. That would be your best bet. Don't listen to Rob. Click on the link below. That'll get you there.
good job. Yeah.
I think we got all of your books in there, Demi. You've got the two
Oh, yes.
books that were the Step into the Arena series. You have a third coming?
I am working on another step into the arena. Uh, the title is not set yet. There's a few ideas, but it will be a continuation of poems dealing with mental health and addiction, and there may be some thrown in with friendship too, and how that all plays into it. It's hard to say where my brain will take me. Some days, I know right what I'm doing, and other days I'm all over the place. But
As a fellow
empathy,
survivor, I have to tell you that I totally am with you on that one. I just kind of
yeah,
let my brain go and I follow.
that's it. Some days we just have to go along with it because it's got its own mind sometimes,
Hmm. It's like a roller coaster. Just strap in and hang on because you don't know where we're going.
Absolutely. We just roll with it, right?
Right. It has been such a great talk we've had today, and I want to encourage everyone. Remember, Christmas is just around the corner, so go to Danielle's website, visit there, buy those books. You might want to pick up both. Well, actually, pick up all three. Don't just pick up two. Get all three. Buy them in duplicates. Give them
They're
to your
so.
friends, and support a local author that needs your love as well.
Oh, thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much for being my guest today. It's been such a joy talking with you. Guys, don't forget to like the program, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, but most importantly, share the program because you never know when you share this, you might reach someone who needed to hear what we talked about today. So until next week, this has been Life Rewired.
Not the end, just re-inspired. This is me, my life rewired.